morning. It is a good morning. Banana cake. Beautiful banana cake. I made this the other day. We're going to be having banana cake for breakfast for the rest of the week. Yeah. No, on Sunday I hosted here in the backyard. I hosted my mother's 80th birthday party. Happy birthday, Mom. Love you. Yeah. And yeah, my mom and dad were here, my brother, my sister-in-law, and some of the people who live in the house were all here. And it was good food, shared among good people, with a sense of family and a sense of community. Oh yeah. And that's what I have here. Family and community matter. They matter a great deal. Yeah. I'm gonna meander and ramble a little bit. Some of you may have noticed that when I poke at people, it's always people with power. It's never people without power. And whenever I criticize people without power, I make a point of including a lot of provisos and notwithstandings. Because, while it is certainly true that sometimes people without power also need to be called out, it is much more true that the people with power need to be called out. There is, unfortunately, an awful practice, especially among conservatives and reactionaries, but even starting to catch on among liberals, that is, centrists, called punching down, where you only call out those who have less power than you. Calling out the weak, calling out the powerless, and pointing out their failings, their flaws, their shortcomings, without context, without the context of circumstance, without the context of racism, sexism, classism, etc., and treating their misfortunes as somehow intrinsically their fault, rather than a matter of circumstance. Wow. Punching down, aka bullying. Yeah. Very popular among conservatives and right-wingers of every sort. And catching on among centrists, that is, liberals. Punching down, or bullying. Yeah, there's an old adage. If you beat up the people who are more powerful than you, it's satire. If you beat up the people who are less powerful than you, it's bullying. And that is true. That is very, very true. And yet bullying is presented now as the definitive evidence of being a, quote, real man in our, quote, Western society. Bullying. And nowhere is this more clear than down south in America, where the American public has voted for and supported the worst bully in the history of politics. Yeah. And when I say the worst bully, I don't mean the most extreme. I mean the most pathetic. Because bullies run a spectrum of patheticness. And he is the most pathetic bully of all time. We all know who I'm talking about. I don't need to give names. Suffice to say that the bully has recently been once again convicted in a court of law for various heinous and reprehensible actions on his part, and his devoted worshippers are once again rushing to his defense, justifying his bad behavior, and proudly bragging that they do the exact same thing. Horrible people bragging about being horrible people. Well, that's a thing happening down there. But it's also starting to happen up here. In particular, a Pierre Polyev, a man who, let's be honest, if he had not been born into the position of power and privilege that he was born into, probably would have been bullied in school. Because he is pathetic. Yeah. Pierre Polyev, a pathetic bully. Kissing ass to you know who, another pathetic bully. Well, gotta love banana cake. Yeah. When you pick on people who have power over you, it's satire. When you mock the people who have the power of life and death, it's satire. And it takes a degree of courage because, yes, those people who have that power can turn around and use that power to hurt you. But when you mock, taunt, and torment people who have no power, it's no longer satire, and it's no longer funny. It's bullying. It's punching down. It's bullying. And it is cowardice. Because you're specifically picking a fight with somebody who cannot fight back, and you know they cannot fight back. Which makes you, a fucking coward. Yeah. Yeah, I do find cowards quite entertaining. Cowards with power are always bullies. Yeah. It's early in the morning. We had a beautiful fire in the backyard. It was fun. It was great. But yeah. Pardon me. When you pick on those who have no power, you're not heroic. You're a bully. And you're a piece of shit. Just saying. Just putting that out there. When you pick on those who have power, that requires some degree of courage. Yeah. picking on outgroups, minorities, people with disabilities, picking on people who you know cannot fight back. Apparently they're picking up the garbage at the dumpsters behind the school 3 doors over. No, 4 doors over. Yeah, 4 doors over. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, picking a fight with somebody who you know cannot fight back is bullying. And it's not heroic, it's not brave, it's cowardly, and it's pathetic. And it shows you to be cowardly and pathetic. But when you stand up to somebody who is strong, somebody who is a bully, who is bullying you or someone else, that is heroic. And so the right wing writes their propaganda to make it look like the powerless are infinitely powerful, to look like the weak are strong, to look like the helpless are the aggressors and not themselves. Yeah. Right-wingers invariably try to portray themselves as weak when they are strong, and invariably try to portray the people they bully as being much stronger than they really are. It's a dirty trick, and if you actually look past it, you'll see that it's bullshit. It is bullshit. Yeah. But nothing is quite so big on role reversal and reality reversal and reality inversion as right-wing propaganda. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Spilled a drop. Nobody is more into reality inversion than a right-winger. Nobody. Gleefully portraying the crippled veteran that they've been kicking in the face all day as somehow being much more powerful than they are, even though they've taken his wheelchair from him. And these are the same people who scream, "Support the troops, support the troops, support the troops." But they will take wheelchairs away from crippled veterans, and they will take widows' pensions away from war widows. And they will never enlist, they will never volunteer, and they will never vote for conscription, because they know that they might get called up. Yeah. And they're very patriotic in the sense that they wave flags. But if a hostile foreign power with the ability to conquer them showed up on their doorstep, they would be the first ones to surrender. Well, the fake patriot. That's the name I'm looking for. The fake patriot. Yeah. The faux patriot. F-A-U-X. Or the Fox patriot. F-A-U-X. Or the Fox patriot as in Fox News. Yeah. Yeah. People that love to wave a flag as long as it's convenient, easy, and safe. But the minute that they have to face a real threat, they drop that flag and they start surrendering left, right, and center. You know. Horrible people being horrible people. Yeah. Horrible people being horrible people. Yeah. Now, I have in the past stood up to people who are much more powerful than me. And, yeah, I think I have the right to pat my back a little bit because I have stood up to people who had a great deal of power and who had no problem exercising that power violently. Yeah. I stood up to them because it was the right thing to do. Didn't help me much, but I at least have the comfort of knowing that I was morally right to stand up to them. Yeah. Yeah. But you will notice that I've never felt the need to stand up to anybody that was weaker than me. Anybody that was powerless. Anybody who was helpless. I've never felt the need to stand up to them. Yeah. Making a sound moral decision. You can make a sound moral decision. Stand up to people who have power and demand that they be accountable for their bad behavior. Protect people who have no power. And try to live your life as an example of solid moral and ethical principles. Yeah. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be a perfect paragon, but there is a certain basic minimum level of basic human decency that you should display continuously. That includes standing up to the powerful and protecting the powerless. Stand up to the powerful, protect the powerless. And you can usually tell who they are just by looking. You can tell who the powerful are and who the powerless are. Pardon me. Just by looking. So yeah. Stand up to the powerful. Protect the powerless. I think that's a pretty good idea.